me ask you this. What is your plan to deal with inflation? What is the Republican plan to deal with inflation other than not supporting Joe Biden policies? And I say that because what is the proactive agenda here?
Well, we have a positive agenda. We have a commitment to America, and we're going to get back to basics. Republicans are going to win landslide elections, not just because Joe Biden has done such a poor job and congressional Democrats have failed the American people on the economy, crime, and the border, but because we have a positive agenda to secure the border, to get back to basics, to stop the flow of drugs into our communities, to prevent people on the terror watch list from coming across the southern border.
Get ready to hear a lot more of that over the next few months. As we get closer and closer to the election, the Republicans are really starting to scramble. We've seen instances of Republicans walking back things they previously stood for. In Arizona, Blake Masters, the Senate candidate, wiped his website of any reference to abortion because it is increasingly clear that is a deeply unpopular stance Republicans have taken. Trying to end Roe and successfully ending Roe through the Supreme Court decision in Dobbs, something they celebrated, has had major backlash for Republicans. But what he's talking about in this clip, the economic message, listen to his answer.
Well, we have a positive agenda. We have a commitment to America, and we're going to get back to basics.
He doesn't have one. They don't have an economic plan. The Republicans never have an economic plan for people. For corporations, sure, and we'll get to that in a second, but specifically I want to point out, when he's asked about the economy, when he's asked about inflation, what does he say?
Congressional Democrats have failed the American people on the economy, crime, and the border, but because we have a positive agenda to secure the border, to get back to basics, to stop the flow of drugs into our communities, to prevent people on the terror watch list from coming across the southern border, and to restore the Remain in Mexico policy that this administration just reversed.
He starts blaming immigrants, and that's the Republican game here. They just want to single out and harass marginalized people because they built a campaign and a party on a foundation of hate. And what they're doing, getting the crazy lunatics on the fringe right fired up, is going to make the lives of immigrants harder. It's going to make the lives of trans people harder. That's another target. It's going to make the lives of women, of people of color, of other disadvantaged and discriminated groups harder. But they don't care, because that's how they play politics now. It's not about fixing issues in the country. It's not about getting from A to B. It's not about getting back to basics. It's just about hate. They don't have an economic message. If he had one, he would have talked about it, but instead he talked about immigrants and the border. Their economic plan, which has always been their Republican economic plan, is to further enrich corporations, millionaires, and billionaires. They want to look out for the wealthy because the wealthy then will donate to their campaigns. It keeps them in power, lets them do a little insider trading in Congress. They get theirs, they cash out, you get. That has always been the Republican economic message. They don't give about working people, and they certainly don't care about inflation. If they did, they would have joined Democrats a couple weeks ago to pass the Inflation Reduction Act. But they don't give. Just like they don't care about lowering drug costs because they're in the pockets of big pharma. Just like they don't care about increasing your wages because they're in corporations and Wall Street's pockets. They don't care about working people. They don't have an economic message, and they're going to hang you out to dry and single out our immigrant friends and neighbors in the process.